Daniel Farke is a little bit of a sort of an enigma at Leeds United, with a lot of people really liking him and a really weird sort of firm, hardcore base of people that don't really like Daniel Farke, haven't ever really liked Daniel Farke, and every single summer have said, yeah, he's performed alright, but I wouldn't want him next season. So in this video, I thought I'd take a little bit of a deep dive into what the sort of level of performance actually is under Daniel Farke, what the concerns around him are, and ultimately to answer that question of should we keep him around next season, because I think there's a lot of things to sort of dive into with this. It's one of the weirdest questions that keeps bouncing around the fan base. And I think if we don't take a little bit of a deeper delve into it, then we're sort of missing an opportunity. But before I do that, like and subscribe and all that stuff. Anyway, let's get into it. The first of the concerns that people tend to bring up is that he is tactically naive. That's one that we've seen a hell of a lot of the time. We first saw it after the really sort of in the first season, specifically after the playoff final, where we were beaten by Southampton in a similar manner to which we were beaten previously by Southampton. Popped up a few times last season as well, where we'd occasionally drop points to sides towards the bottom of the table. And it also popped up earlier this season where we were again dropping some fairly significant points in matches that people felt like we should have won. Now, to sort of address this one, I'm just going to dive into the match against Manchester United, because in that match we tactically just outdid Man United at every step of the way. And it's on a few sort of different individual points. The first of them, directly pitting DCL against Lisandro Martinez rather than whoever was partnering Martinez. Martinez is 5'9". He is only taller than Dan James, Willie Gnonto, and he's the same height as Facundo Bonanotte from the Leeds United squad. That makes him the most bullyable centre-back by someone that likes to be fairly physical, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And we saw that throughout the match, Calvert-Lewin really sort of taking it to him and challenging him on a physical level, which eventually got Martinez pissed off and got him sent off, which is absolutely spectacular. In addition to that, the wing backs were constantly dragging Man United's fullbacks completely out of position, which meant that eventually you had to have Casemiro or Ugarte or one of their centre backs sort of covering for them and make sure, right, okay, who's got the wide area covered, which leaves a wide open space in the middle. And at the same time, Okafor and Aronson were playing a little bit narrower than usual, which meant that that space was filled by our own players, which meant that the moment Scum got the ball, they were trying to play their way through us, and it just didn't work because they were playing into us, which was a massive problem for them. In addition to that, have our centre-backs willing to carry the ball forward into that massive wide open space that only got wider when Martinez got himself sent off, and Daniel Farke turned a squad that, well, not even a squad, a starting lineup that cost probably less than a good few of the individuals in Man United's side to beat them. And I'm going to say relatively comfortably. We should have scored 3 or 4 goals in that first half alone, and another couple in the second half. It could have been 5-1, to be honest. Unlucky for it to not be better. Everything that Daniel Farke could have done there, he did. And in the same way, sort of unlucky to drop points to Man City in both of the matches against them. Not lost to Chelsea so far this season. Managed to get to an FA Cup semi-final. All of those are big signs of the tactical nous that a lot of people don't give him the credit for. And a lot of people don't give him the credit for that because of the second concern, which is his squad management. And to be fair, kind of get this one. A lot of people have looked at Autanaka and said, you've not got a lot of minutes so far this season. Or looked at Willie Gnonto and said, you've not got a lot of minutes so far this season. Which, fair enough, very, very good players, haven't played a ton. But there's a couple of points to counter that with. One, the way that Farke tends to do squad rotation is admittedly probably not the healthiest, but the way that he'll do it is the player that's starting in that position, he will basically run until they can't. Then they get a little bit of a knock, get a little bit of an injury, then you bring in the replacement. If the replacement has earned their spot, fantastic. The player that initially got injured drops to the bench, has to earn their way back in. It's a constant meritocracy, where players that aren't in the first 11 have to fight their way in. It's why we've not just, and this is another thing that sort of bugged people as part of this squad management thing. It's why we've not really seen Facundo Bonanotte, because a lot of managers will go, no, is a nice shiny new signing that we picked up in January. We've got to play him. Daniel Farke's not done that. He's gone, right, okay, you've got a couple of FA Cup matches, show me what you can do. And he showed us what he can do, and it wasn't much, which meant that Bonanotte ultimately had to earn his way into the side, which is the better way of doing it. And people then point out the next potential concern that stems from this, which is some players getting a little bit pissed off and leaving as a result. The examples that were given when I put out a tweet about this yesterday were Cresswell, which was a pretty big one, and the likes of Largy or Mateo Joseph, which, okay, fine. Those are players that left. Understood. I get it. But then you look at them on an individual basis, and it makes a little bit more sense again. Charlie Cresswell is the big one. I'll save him for last because I want to go through the others first. But Mateo Joseph, every single time he started last season, he didn't do too much. Joel Piroux did a lot of the lifting and carrying when it came to that promotion side, and sure, Mateo would link play reasonably well, but he didn't finish as well as Joel Piroux, and he didn't do the link-up play as well as Patrick Bamford, which meant that he was just sort of sat there being like, well, I don't know what I'm realistically doing at this stage, which meant that he didn't get picked, which meant that he threw a hissy fit, which meant that he left the club. Completely on him. He's now injured, which hope he gets better because you don't really want anyone to be injured on like a human level, but at the same time, the fact that you throw a hissy fit doesn't mean that you're immediately deserving of a place in the first team. People have pointed out Largy Ramazani, but those are the same people that say Willie should get more minutes. Largy and Willie Gnonto play the same position. They're both left wingers for the majority of their time on a football pitch. If you're thinking Gnonto's not getting enough time, is the response to that to have another left winger in the side, or is it better for everyone if Largy goes, gets some game time, improves the Valencia squad, starts to develop a bit more, increases in value for us, and potentially either comes back next season and comes into the side, or comes back next season and we move him on with a little bit more profit? And then you get the Charlie Cresswell one, which is a case of he was never getting in over the pairing of Rodon and Strauch because they were just better centre-backs than him when he was a candidate for the first team. When he did play, he was a little bit disappointing in that season, and then he again sort of went, well, no, I want to leave to get some minutes. So at that point, are you going to potentially hamper your promotion chances by replacing a first-team centre-back? Or are you going to say, no, okay, go on then. Off you go. And we'll put in a little bit of a sell-on clause. I think that's the best step, not the best step, the best sort of route to take at all of those stages, because at the end of the day, they're the steps that got us where we are now in the Premier League, and they're all rational decisions to make. Then you get to the other two concerns, and these are the two that I think are a little bit irrational. You've got the people that say he's got a poor history in the Premier League, which sure, before he came to us, he did, because Norwich invested nothing into him. His first season in the Premier League, his biggest signing was Sam Byram for £6 million. Compare that to what basically all Premier League managers get, and you can see why he was left a bit high and dry. And then you get the other concern, which is that he's hit his ceiling. Now, people that say he's hit his ceiling are also people that say that we needed to do better with recruitment. Arguably, a manager that has gotten us safe from relegation, because personally I don't think Spurs pick up 6 points, and I might eat my words soon, I don't think I will. But a manager that gets us safe in the first season in the Premier League has done a hell of a job. And then you look at the fact that, well, there's potential for more investment in the coming summer. There's apparently more in the budget than there was last year, which is absolutely wonderful. And that'll be used in the attacking area, so we'll have that creative player. I think it's harsh to say he's hit his ceiling. And if his ceiling is reasonably good season in the Premier League, whilst having half a championship squad and getting to the semi-finals of the FA Cup, that ain't a bad ceiling. So at the very least, let Farke run to the end of his contract and see where we are next season, because to be honest with you, and this is all assuming that we stay up, but it'd be wild if we didn't by this point. To be honest with you, I think he's earned it. I think a lot of people have a go at him for no apparent reason, use him as a little bit of a sort of stick to beat the club with, and he never gets the credit when we play well, and he always gets the blame when we play badly. But in my opinion, Daniel Farke is doing a pretty damn good job. And if you're a doubter, I think it's probably for the best to pay attention to what's actually happening on the pitch rather than what's happening on Twitter. Anyway, thought I'd do a little bit of a quick video, so I hope you enjoyed. If you did, pop a like on it, subscribe if you've not yet, become a channel member, all that fun stuff. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all later. Toodaloo.